kind of just like a place that there's a lot of people out there that don't like streaming alone, but are kind of like, in the community, and they want to talk tech. They want to talk about Neuralink and like all these other technologies that have been upcoming. So I kind of just got a bunch of girls together, and I was like, hey, let's start this thing called the Block Babes. I was supposed to be here speaking with another one of the babes. Her name was Crypty Girl, but she had an emergency and she couldn't make it, which is fine. But yeah, that's essentially what we do. And it's kind of just like community based streaming is essentially what it is. So yeah.
I will let
But
you guys know the live stream has begun. This person right here is the live stream. Hi, everybody that's tuning in. My name's Jerome. Welcome to Blockchain Universe. We got
yo
Annalise
yo,
here, start of the Block Babes. So tell me more about what you plan to achieve with the Block Babes.
what do I plan to achieve? So like I said, I like to stream with other people personally. Live streaming can be a little nerve-wracking if you don't do it often. It's you don't know, what to expect, how people are gonna perceive you. It's a little like difficult to talk versus like something that's recorded where you can edit, you can think about what you're saying. This is kind of like, on the fly. So a lot of people also, feel the way I do when it comes to this, if they're not, like into production already or doing streaming or, a successful streamer. So I kind of found the need to like just build a community of people who are interested in, like-minded things like me, tech, and just stream with them. So that's essentially what I want to see. I want to see just like a bigger community built out of this. So that's all. Can you guys hear me? I don't know if I muted or
Yeah,
not.
yeah, we can
I
hear
like
you.
bugged out. Yeah, I think it glitched. Like everything got really quiet. But yeah, that's all. I kind of like teaching people about the different tech. Sophia, you weren't really here for our talk, but do you know anything about blockchain?
Okay. No,
I
I hear
don't know if she
someone
talked.
speaking.
no, I don't.
Sophia,
Hello?
do you speak? Hey.
All right,
No, I
looks
do
like she
not know
doesn't, but
anything
I
about
know that Matt is. It looks like if you turn around, Matt's talking to you. And
okay.
we got my guy Old Fart in here.
Yo,
Hey, that's my friend. We talk a lot of blockchain stuff.
yeah, I'm not a rookie, but
Welcome
I don't
back,
know
Old Fart.
everything.
You're not a rookie, but you don't know everything. That's fine. I'm not a rookie either. I don't know everything. I actually just started a blockchain course um, from a
We're
professor
gonna
at
have a
UC Berkeley.
blockchain expert in here.
Yeah, so I mean it's cool. It's a little like, I learned blockchain online. I learned it through my friends. I learned it through, just looking at stuff, and I picked up whatever knowledge I know up to now. But it gets to a point where there's like professional education and there's like education that you teach yourself. um
Yes.
the blockchain has come up to a point where it's now in universities, so I mean there's a lot of standardized reading and a lot of things out there that you can follow. So I figured it was time to, I guess, formalize my knowledge, make sure that what I am saying is true, making sure I'm up to par with all the things, making sure I didn't miss anything while I was learning. And I ended up getting a scholarship to blockchaincenter.com, which is hosting this UC Berkeley course with this professor.
Woo!
So it's a $2,000 course, and I got it for free. So I'm pretty psyched. Yeah, blockchain courses are not cheap. I think MIT does one for over 2,000 too. So it's gonna be interesting. I'm gonna be streaming it and just like, I mean, telling people about it because a lot of people are curious whether or not it is worth it. So far, it is. So far, I think this was the first week. Uh, Everything I've learned is pretty much. It goes back. He starts talking. The guy kind of started the conversation on the topic of money. What is money? What is a bank? Where does money come from? How do we evaluate money? Why do we have something that we trade? And we wouldn't have the need of money if we were just basic commoners where we traded wine and bread, or service for service. But eventually it gets to a point where you have so much of your service, now you need to barter with other people. And make it, oh, you amplified me. I think they could have heard me. But anyways, you make it to where you need to barter with other people. And eventually the need for, something that you can spend later comes in, because you don't want to like, pay everyone with bread all the time because you bought it from the bread man and you trade it for wine. So he kind of like breaks down those very simple concepts, and the need of, having money. The three basic things you always need when you're, making a currency is, it needs to be a store of value. There needs to be a medium of exchange. And there needs to be, a reason behind it, a reason why it's being used. So I don't know, lots of interesting stuff, lots of interesting points that he's hitting. I've enjoyed learning, so far, what is a bank? What makes a bank? Why do banks exist? A lot of those questions we don't ask, in everyday society. We just see that, we're in debt. The U.S. is in debt. That's all we always hear, So like, it's really important to like understand what this means, because a lot of people don't understand what it means. We keep printing money, but why can't we pay off the debt? Well, and then you get into that whole conversation. But yeah, I've enjoyed it so far. So if you guys ever are interested in like watching my streams talking about it and just going over what he teaches, I'll probably be streaming it to the Bits and Tokens YouTube page. So if you guys follow Bits and Tokens on YouTube, I'll be streaming the next 6 weeks of courses there and just talking about it. So yeah.
Okay. And tell us more about, what else you're doing. So you said that we talked about Bits and Tokens a bit. What's your plans with Bits and Tokens? And can you tell everybody like what Drunk Crypto is?
Drunk Crypto. Well, it's what it sounds like. It's two people drinking, talking about crypto. So I came up with the idea recently to start a drinking game with my friend where we let people, community members, basically make up trivia questions and they submit it to us. And based off, whether or not they want to, let's say, watch a talk about Ethereum or Bitcoin or, whatever, we answer trivia questions. And, if the person gets it wrong, they take a shot. We have like, we do media, so that we have like, cool animations on screen for people to look at while we're doing it. We have shot glasses that show up, cute little things. And then whoever gets to 10 shots, which, by the time you get to 10 shots, like, you're done. Number one, like you're going to the toilet. But that person loses basically. So, I don't know. I've had fun. It's a fun little segment that we've been doing for a while now. We were gonna like bring reptiles and like other cool things on the show, but then Corona happened. So drinking game it is. That's usually what we do Thursday night. And I think you host it here in this world, right? You like put it on screen.
Yes, I do put it up in alt space so that you guys can be able to watch. I know that we've had some trivia. Last Thursday we talked about blockchain. The 2 weeks prior to that we talked about.
I didn't like that game. I like the Divi game and I like the Vault game. Those are two fun games.
Yeah, so those are two other cryptocurrencies that we previously talked about. Does anybody here know of any other cryptocurrencies other than Bitcoin that you guys are interesting to learn about, or that you guys already know and want us to talk about that in our next Drunk Crypto?
Yeah, I don't know a lot of these currencies. People just throw them at me and that's how I learn about them. I go on the website, I make trivia questions and, figure it out from there. That's probably the best way to learn. Someone just tells you a topic and then you just go online and kind of look it up and then, just pick up knowledge here and there. But then again, that goes back into, eventually taking a course if it's really something that I guess resonates with your spirit or whatever. So whatever you want to do in life,
And what is it that you want to do with your life?
I don't know. I'm not 100% sure yet. I really like tech. I'm like a weird story, right? Because I grew up without a computer. I grew up without a phone. My first phone was at 18. Just for reference, I'm 23. So I grew up like not super techie. And after I was 18, I kind of said, you know what, like my parents don't rule me no more. I'm going to go buy a phone. So I did. And from there, I kind of like opened up to the world of the internet. And I really started like learning that the internet was more than just Instagram, Snapchat, and whatever the heck my friends would, say at school, because that's what they would use. It was, it was cryptocurrency, it was blockchain, it was security, it was hackers, it was all this other stuff that I had no idea existed, and I kind of fell in love with it. At the time, I was in college and I was going to school for health administration. But I kind of fell out of love with health a little bit. I really enjoy helping people, and I like the concept of wellness, and I like the concept of, health and just overall, just making sure that your body is functioning at, 100% at all times. Because if you're not okay, then like everything else in your life will never be okay. Like if you're not okay, like everything else will, like, it can't, so like I'm really focused on just making myself a better person overall. Oh, sorry, I realized my mic had unplugged. You guys should be able to hear me now. But essentially, there's a little bit of an echo. I hear myself doubled. Okay, there, it's gone. So I started getting into blockchain while I was in college because, I realized that our Western medicine is not the best. 20% of all diagnoses are wrong, or correct. Only 20% of all diagnoses around the world of like any diseases and illnesses are correct. The rest 80% of people who are on treatment or, doing things to make themselves better because their doctor said so is bogus. And that just drove me batshit. I was like, that's absolutely crazy. You're telling me there's people out there that are on cancer treatment right now that shouldn't be, that are being told that, they're ill and they're not. So, after that,
I want to talk about my grandma who was told that
she got butchered. There's a lot.
Oh, you cut out. I was gonna say,
yeah, there's a lot of old people that get butchered. It's really sad.
She had issues with her back when she went in telling the doctor that she was having issues with her knees, and the doctor said we could fix that by doing something with your back. Ended up giving her back surgery. Her knees still
crazy
hurt, and now her back hurts.
Like, how do you go to the doctor and tell them, hey, my knee hurts, and then they give you back surgery? Like, these are the things that make me not want to say, okay, I run a hospital. So I found blockchain, and I kind of fell in love with blockchain, the tech. I fell in love with all of that. And I also started learning how to do video editing and videography. So I'm an editor. I do a lot of video work. I'm a graphic designer. I kind of self-taught myself, and then eventually did some courses to, I guess, enhance what I've already learned. And I also kind of befriended people who were in similar realms. So I befriended, or Jerome here next to me, he befriended someone who ended up being, like Michael Winslow's like friend. If you guys don't know who Michael Winslow is, he's the guy who did all the police cop movies, Cop Academy, I think. He's like a comedian. And then like, me, some super unqualified girl, ended up, getting the opportunity to go on a cross country tour with this guy. So, it's like, you never know like what opportunities will pop up just by like, I guess, befriending like minds or like people. Like, it was just, surreal to me. And, from there, I just kind of have continued to go. Recently, because of obviously Corona, I've been inside. People still contract me out for video work. I still do all that stuff. So I'm pretty good at home. But, I like to go outside a lot, mostly just, exercise, work out myself. And people see me. And I was approached by agent yesterday who told me like, hey, have you ever thought of like, doing like modeling or like classes or videos to like, be publicized? I was like, no, I don't. I'm more comfortable behind the camera than in front of the camera. So I've never, thought of doing that. And I was just like, oh, that would be really cool. Like, I have no intention on ever being famous, because people who are famous live miserable lives. They are constantly being watched and followed by paparazzis and being harassed online by millions of people. But I thought that was it might be a cool opportunity. It might be something that, I might be into. So as of right now, with my life, I plan to do video editing until I decide to do something else. I don't know. I'm going to see what this agent lady has in store for me. We'll see what life brings me. But for right now, I just intend to keep breathing. So that's my answer.
Great answer. There's a lot that's going on there, and it's great because you're young. You have so many different options. It's there's no reason to just stick to one thing. So
There's no
roam and
reason, man. You know, people
yeah,
who go to the military and they go to this thing called A school, right? And you go to school for, X amount of years. And that one job that you choose, to my knowledge, according to my friend on how it works, you have to stick with it throughout your period of being in the military. And I think that's absolutely crazy. I mean, it's good for them because they need troops. They need people who, they need copycats. They need cookie cutters. But, as a human to like just be stagnant to one thing in your life, I don't think that's how we're meant to be. I'm a very yeah, like I have a wandering soul, sure, but we're not going to sit here and say what was it,
you
Mac?
guys
Did
are
you say
welcome to
something?
join in on the chat. I guess not. Continue.
Oh,
That's not how it is
in what
Alright.
the
in
in
the
what's not
military.
so tell me how it is, because my sister just joined, and then I have a friend who joined, and they told me that you go to A school. Well, you pick a job, and then until you're A school, whatever career you want to do, you do that, and then like that's how they explained it to me. I don't what is your like knowledge on it? How does it work?
With all due respect, I didn't come here to talk about the military.
Oh, well, I mean, I'm just, having a conversation on life, but yeah, to my knowledge,
It's
that's how they said it works. But like my point in all this, whether or not that's true or not, is like as humans, I don't think we're like meant to just be stagnant. We are curious creatures. Life changes, your body changes, your everything is ever changing. So I feel like you should also follow changes. You should also make sure that you are always in the position that your life is replicating those changes. Like if you are unhappy at, let's say, your job, let's say you work a 9 to 5, but eventually you just want to trade crypto full time, uh, you either adapt and you become miserable and you become bitter, or you figure out something that really feels like you wake up in the morning and you're like, wow, like I can't wait to start my day. And I didn't understand that for a really long time because you go to school, you're told that you have to go to college, and you're told that you have to pick something out. And we don't teach like children in our society uh, that business is like a whole thing. Like people complain when they see people come here and set up businesses and set up gas stations, but in their countries they were raised off business. Here we raise our kids off education and then going into a company and working their way up corporate. So yeah, those are just things that I don't know. They don't resonate with me. I just feel like as someone who's growing and understanding life every day as a young person, things are just ever changing, and I just need to be ready for those changes, because if not, I'm gonna get caught in the crossfire. So
And it definitely is changing with things like the gig economy. Let's talk more about that and all the gigs that are out there. You got Uber, you got all these, type of gigs, Fiverr, all these different pop-up jobs that happen. We do all of these different contracts for different events. Do you see much of a future with the gig economy, or do you think that's been tainted now due to the
the gig
coronavirus?
economy, like so I mean, there's lots of gigs, like do you mean like it depends, because there's some gigs that weren't affected and there's others that were, like for me, for instance, I go to conferences. I go to a lot of crypto conferences. I do a lot of media. I do, stuff like that. Conferences can't be held right now. There's no conferences that are going on because you can't have people just, doing whatever willy nilly. So yes, it affects, people who are in media, production, any of that kind of stuff. Other people who do things online, or maybe do like yard work or landscaping or construction, no. I haven't seen construction stop one day since corona has started in my neighborhood. So I think the gig economy it depends. It just depends on what you do. It depends on what you do. That's my answer.
That's a fine answer. You're talking a bit about, healthcare and what's going on. That was your main priority in the beginning. Let's bring it back towards blockchain. I know one of the questions you had during the Drunk Crypto show was, ways that blockchain integrates with healthcare. Can you elaborate a little bit more on that, and what your insight is where you see blockchain and healthcare collaborating?
So blockchain is essentially a distributed database. It can be private or public, but some people argue that a private blockchain isn't really a blockchain, and that's understandable. But healthcare, there's a lot of rules and regulations, HIPAA, OSHA, you name it. All these things need to be, secure. I think our biggest flaw in our healthcare system is the transfer of information. When you go, let's say you move a state and you go to a new doctor, your doctor, unless you decide to pick up your health records from your previous doctor, knows nothing. So I think the best use case for blockchain in the healthcare system is having a secure and consistent way to have this information stored and to have the ability to distribute it to other, doctors, or, your cardiologist and your primary. They should be in sync. If they're not, that's where, the butchering happens. That's where, oh, I didn't know you had a clogged artery before. I thought you had something else. Because what you need to remember is doctors are technically practicing. They have a practice. Yes, they went to school for 10, 20, 12 years and have continuing education, but they're human too. Like their knowledge that is being applied is everything that they have learned about humans up until this point. And how it works. So new diseases, things that, pop up, they are super underprepared for any of it. They don't know how to prepare for it in some situations, because it's like a curveball. Like you don't know what to expect. So I feel like just having the ability of transferring information from facility to facility when it's due. There's some people that don't like that because they don't particularly want, and that's more for insurance, and that's a different conversation. But when you get insurance, they collect your health records. If we were to implement something like blockchain where the information is like stored in a single place, and your insurance person, if you didn't want them to know that, let's say you had cancer in the past, was to localize in this blockchain that you did have it, and maybe they charge you a higher premium, like that's where it can be an issue, and I could see where people wouldn't want that. But I think just being concise with information and the transfer of information is the best when it comes to like healthcare. That's the best thing we can do, because there's a big gap between providers, primary care providers, and specialists when it comes to healthcare. That's my answer. Sorry.
No, it's a great answer. There's many different ways that healthcare and blockchain can intersect, and I think with the insurance route is one way, but also with your health records is another way. Also payments for your healthcare is one option. There's many different routes that people could be able to integrate blockchain in healthcare as well as in food. We know that IBM has integrated blockchain in the process of like growing your food, being able to see from when the product, let's say a carrot, was planted to the day that it was pulled out of the ground, given to the shipper, from the shipper to the warehouse. Each one of those are different transactions.
I understand the need of tracking, food and things like that. It's to me, it's too much, right? Like we have E. coli outbreaks, for example, with the lettuce, right? And now we have to throw away all our lettuce because we don't know where the lettuce came from. We don't know which one's contaminated or not. Yes, it's important. I do find it important. It's just, I don't know. I guess where I find it weird is verifying, let's say, luxury products like Dolce and Gabbana or Louis Vuitton. What they would need to do is they would need to like embed something in the shoe that would make it, like authentic. It would be able to identify it, make sure that it's like legit. But then what if I was able to like, take out the chip and just like put in a counterfeit and still make, $800 profit from selling a fake that I sewed a chip into? There's a lot of like realistic things that we need to come to, like how are we actually going to implement this before we get there. I feel like companies are still working on it. Because there's nothing out there that exists yet that is like, fully functioning. We can figure it out. But yeah, I mean, for the food chain, it's cute. I don't know.
I definitely
It's too much for me to like, comment on. It's just not my thing.
I get that, and I'll add on to it just saying that, with this technology, it's still really early, it's still new, so I don't think anybody's going to have the perfect example and the perfect way to implement their blockchain into physical assets. However, I think what you're talking about with like integrating a chip into clothing or to other products, it definitely is a possibility, and if done properly, it could be intersected with the product, intertwined with the product in a way that it can't be taken out, or if it is, it destroys that product, and as well as it destroys the chip, so that way it can't be put into another product. So I know with some people that they're building, let's say an art piece, I can be able to go buy a mural, and behind the mural, embedded in the canvas, there's a sticker that's embedded, like sewn into the canvas. And if you try to take that out, the chip will know that it's no longer attached to something, thus voiding out the product. As well as when you rip it out of the canvas, it's then destroying the canvas, also destroying the painting, which loses its value. So you can see where putting an object like a painting, like clothing, like food on the blockchain to be able to track and have accessibility is going to be amazing for the future. I love seeing it in games, with people being able to put it in like assets like Fortnite, for example. If they were to put a blockchain on their assets, I would be able to have, your skin, your parachutes, all those different things on the blockchain and intertwinable, interoperable with other blockchains. So I think it's fascinating. It's going to be a great space as more and more companies find the best ways to interact with the blockchain and other physical and digital assets. But with that, I want to thank you so much for joining me, Annalise. Where can the people find you and be able to keep up with you? Annalise? I think she stepped away for a second. Well, guys, I know that you can find her at Bits and Tokens on
Oh,
Bits and
I'm
Tokens.
actually here. I was gonna say I have to get out of here, but it was good talking to you guys. Feel free to add me on Altspace. I don't come on here as often as I should, just because I don't really have a crazy friends on here. But I do help Jerome with all his events, and I haven't checked out the rooms. I need to check out the new rooms that they've got. But if you guys ever want to hang out, just add me as a friend. Send me a message if you see me online. And yeah, it was good talking to you guys.
What about outside of Altspace? How can people get in contact with you?
So like app wise, Twitter, Telegram. Wow, I'm just like, I'm a person who enjoys life, and I may or may not answer back your text message. That's how I feel about life. And like if you find me on social media, you can find me on Twitter mostly. That's kind of like the platform where a lot of crypto people are. So it's the platform I gravitate to. But yeah, if you guys just follow Annalise _ BNT, if you find it, Annalise is my name, just like how it's spelled above me. If you find me, I'm there. I'm the only Annalise. There's not really much of me, so it's a little easy to find. But yeah, I gotta get out of here, guys. It was a pleasure talking to you guys. Enjoy your day. Be your best asset. You are your best asset. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Annalise.
Oh, how do I exit? There we go.
All right. So how do you guys feel about that talk? Thanks, Annalise, for coming out. Thanks, you guys, for watching on the live stream. I'll go ahead and end the live stream. Do we have any questions?